Hey out there, I'm Chris. I live in Las Vegas and I'm a gearhead. And I'm incredibly excited to do this video because it's taken forever to get here. I thought I would be slower after the new year because in my pizza life, usually it slows down after the new year, but it's been super busy this winter. So, this video is really about New Year's resolutions and the evolution of the Roland Keytar. The Roland Keytar series is one of my favorites if you're into the history of Keytars, and the Keytar really took flight in the 1980s. A lot of keyboard players wanted to get out behind their rig and play around on stage with the other guitar players. I love that inspiration, and a lot of different music companies started making gear to elevate that keyboard player. It became very much in fashion, and there were a lot of different designs, and a lot of my favorite ones come from Roland. So the first keyboard I wanted to review today was the Roland Sh-101. Now, this is not the Roland Sh-101. This is Behringer's clone of the Roland Sh-101. Now, what is this Keytar? It is a small bass guitar. You could strap it onto your body. It's an analog Keytar. It mainly used for bass lines, and oddly, it gained more popularity in the 1990s than it did in the 1980s. I believe this was produced in 1982, between 1982 and 1986. It was not a big seller. A shame, because a lot of keyboard players used it. A lot of popular like pop acts and new wave used this guy. I don't know. Devo had one. I think they had 4 of them. I don't know. That guy with the video killed the radio star. I think they had one. The Boogaloos. What are those, like Flock of Seagulls? He was playing one of these. Now, the basic gist of this guy is you've got your oscillator. You've got your mixing, so you could change what wave you're using. You have your filters, and you have your your envelope, so you could change the sound and the timing of your analog sound of your Keytar. The thing is, these guys didn't sell very well, so I guess they wanted to change their entire recipe for playing for designing Keytars. So their second line of Keytars was the Axis, the Roland Axis, and I'm going to show you one of these right now. Oof. This is one of my favorite Roland Keytars. It came out in 1985. It is a MIDI controller. It is different than the original first Roland Sh-101. I'm not sure why they took that change. I guess it was very much in fashion to make MIDI controllers and just crank them out so people can play their favorite keyboard and run out from behind that keyboard and play it, I don't know, maybe a solo. But this is the Roland Axis. It is their first MIDI controller Keytar, I'm going to say. I like it because Weird Al Yankovic used to play this Keytar. If you would look up Weird Al Yankovic Keytar on Google, you'll see pictures of him running around on stage with this. It's a MIDI controller. You can change what MIDI channel you are using on this guy. Honestly, you just hit MIDI control and then you hit these different keys to pick what MIDI channel you're on. Believe it or not, it starts on the key of E, and that's MIDI channel 1, 2, 3, 4, keep going up. The controls are super duper simple, especially for way back when, man. You have your modulation bars, you have a bender, a volume control. It's actually pretty darn simple. You plug it in to a battery pack, believe it or not. The Roland Axis, because this is way before battery powered. On stage on battery power, you had to plug into a power source And the cool thing about the Roland Axis is this power source also works as a suspended pedal or a control pedal. So basically, you plug in the Roland Axis to this guy, and you plug in this pedal into whatever MIDI instrument that you want to play. So if you want to play a Keytar and you want to play your keyboard, you have to plug it in via this little stomper. And I have mine plugged into a Roland Juno Stage. The cool thing about the Juno Stage is it came out the same time as Roland's X synth. And the cool thing about both of those and a couple of the Roland Keytars is they have this thing called the D-beam, which is a weird sensor that's supposed to use like a theremin-like expression, like sound effect. It's really weird. I bought this keyboard only because of the D-beam, and oddly, I never use that D-beam. Now, the funny thing about the Roland, I don't know if you could classify it quite as a Keytar. It's got a neck on it. It's a Keytar. But what I'm not sure about this guy is, what is this bar thingy, dude? Is this, I mean, here's your neck. You're obviously supposed to hold it and play it. Holding the neck so you can control all of these. So it's not that hard, but what is this for, dude? Are you supposed to like grip this? So if you're in some crazy concert, you could play it backwards? I don't know if I could even do bass lines upside down. That'd take a lot of practice, man. So what is this bar? If you've got an idea, please let me know. But what this bar reminds me of is something that comes up later in the Roland Keytar line, and I will show you that. Now, I've got this plugged into this Juno Stage. And the cool thing about the Juno Stage that came out in 2009 is it's one of those, it's a player keyboard. It's a stage keyboard. It's supposed to be able to do bass lines, and it has a arpeggiator on it, and it has drum lines on it. It's for one of those loungy keyboard players who's supposed to do a whole show on a stage by himself. And of course I was dying to get that, and in 2009 it was the brand new one, or the X synth. I really wish I had gotten into Keytar in 2009 and bought that X synth, because that was the Keytar that I don't have that Lady Gaga made famous. So the cool thing about the Juno Stage is you can do a split on it, and you can play bass drums on it, and you could obviously play a lead on it on the split on the keyboard. Let's see. Nice sequence. You can play drums separate. Everything that a guy in the 80s wanted. They wanted a Keytar that they could run away from their keyboard from and play. Now there is a couple of Keytars that I don't have in their collection yet. I am still trying to track down an X synth, because that is the Keytar that Lady Gaga made famous. She bedazzled it, she did everything that she could. Maybe she had designers work on weird things to do to that Keytar, but she made that Keytar freaking awesome. Now, I do have the series that came right after that and right after that, so I would like you to join me into those. Now, I did want to talk about New Year's resolutions, and it is very fitting that I'm doing this in February and not January, because people tend to fall off of those New Year's resolutions going on to the next month. Now, to be honest, like a lot of people, health is a big part of my New Year's resolutions. Every year, I try to pick something that is doable, but takes a lot of work. And I try not to make unrealistic goals. Because I used to work in public health, my goals every year are always to try to work on my health, to try to exercise, and try to eat right. And I think we all know a little better about how to take care of ourselves. Whether or not you are educated in health or not, I think we all know what's good for us and what's bad for us, and it's always a good thing to make better choices. So I always encourage myself every year to stay on whatever workout routine I'm doing and whatever diet routine I'm doing, and try to switch it up every now and then. So what does that have to do with Keytars? Well, plans evolve. People evolve. And of course, Keytars evolve with time. And the same deal, each and every one of these Keytars were playing till the times that it was created in and adapted and changed in design as they got older. Now, these two were made in 1985. They were made to play a keyboard, just run around out behind the keyboard and play around on stage. Now, this guy, 2000, I believe 10, 11. This is the Roland X 7? No, Lucina 7. Something 7. No, the Lucina 9. Okay. This is basically, the fourth, fifth Keytar in the Roland line. It's got its own sounds in it, very much like the Axe synth. This is the smaller version of the Roland X synth, the big one that Lady Gaga made famous. Why did they make a smaller version? I think they did it because it's a little bit more affordable. When that Roland X synth came out, I think it was like 800 to 1,000. This one, when it came out, I think it was like 400 to 600. And it's kind of the same on eBay. If you look for these, they'll be between 400 to 600. I keep hunting for a Roland X synth. The cheapest ones are from Japan. I'm not really sure if I want to buy something from Japan and have it shipped over. I get scared what happens, during the shipping. What if my Keytar breaks and I get all sad? So, the cool thing about this guy, sounds. Sounds built right in. You don't have to tether this guy to a keyboard to play it. And what I have been doing lately is I've been tethering this via a wireless guitar hookup to a pedal, and I'm basically doing looping sounds to make songs, and really digging on it, actually. The cool thing about this guy, it's got guitar sounds, it's got organ sounds, it's got piano sounds, and I would love to do a demonstration. The first thing I did notice, though, is there is no suspended button. There's nothing to hit to suspend your notes. So I looked in the catalog, and the first thing I noticed in the manual is that you can change what everything does on your button setup, on all your controls, on all your MIDI controls, on everything. So the first thing I did is I turned the modulation bar into a suspended pedal. So now, instead of using this little whammy modulation bar, I use it as a suspended pedal. I would recommend that if you want to suspend your notes on this guy. Let's see how she sounds. Come on. I am digging the electric guitar sounds, and I've noticed that patches on this guy are some of the same that are in the Juno Stage. Nice. Oh, and just like the Juno Stage, just like the Roland X synth, this guy has a D-beam. What on earth is a D-beam? It's this little sensor here. You hold your hand over it as you are suspending a note, and it will do whatever you want it to do. It will do filter, it'll do a pitch bend. Because I am foregoing using a filter on my modulation bar, and I'm using my modulation bar as a suspended pedal, I decided to use my D-beam as my filter trigger. So. All together. So, what can this guy do? It can do all the sounds that a normal keyboard can do, except you could walk around with it. It's not tethered to anything. It's pretty darned awesome. If you use a wireless guitar system, you can walk around like freely with it. I love making loops with this guy. It's a really awesome keytar, honestly. I know it is the Roland X Lite. I can't wait to find that Roland X somewhere, somehow, some way. Hopefully from an American buyer. And I do have one more Keytar to show you. It is the Keytar that came after this. Now everybody and their mom has done a video on this guy, but here we go. I've got a couple issues with this Roland Keytar right now. This is the newest design of Roland's Keytars. I believe it came out in 2018. I fell in love with it as soon as I got mine. Rechargeable batteries are needed. You could change around this blade thing. By the way, this is the Roland Axe Edge. Edge for blade edge, I suppose. But basically it looks like a giant axe. It looks like something out of a science fiction, I don't know, a post-apocalyptic science fiction-esque, you know, Keytar, which is kind of awesome if you think about it. Oh, more volume there. A whole bunch of different sounds that are not in the Roland X synth, this predecessor. You know what I love about this guy is you can hook it up to an app on your phone and you can edit the sounds. But that's the only issue I have with this, is that app. Because when you originally bought this and you hooked it up to the Roland app, you could download sounds from the Axial website, and for some reason, if you go back onto that app, you cannot download from the Axial website anymore, and I do not know why, because when I first got this, I would play the Roland X synths library, the Synthonia library, which is all the sounds that are on the Roland X synth, this guy's predecessor. Lady Gaga's Keytar, basically, I would play the sounds on her Keytar on this guy, and you could even reprogram it. You could put all of those sounds on your Keytar. I did it once, and I accidentally like wiped all the memory off of this and put those on there, and I had to like erase it and wipe that memory and then put the original sounds back in. It was a whole like 10-minute ordeal. But the only thing I have with this guy is that app, and I'm gonna show you why. So this is the thing that bugs me with that app now. Now, this is the app. You open it up. You are supposed to... Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay. You're supposed to... Okay, yes, we love YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, pop-ups. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, thanks, Mom. Okay. You are supposed to be able to open this guy up on the app and go into the Axial website, and instead of the Axial website now, there is the cloud. Now, what are you supposed to do now? Are you supposed to, I don't know, download like sounds from the cloud, and then you could play that on this guy? They've changed the entire setup of the app. And if you notice, if you go into your app store where it talks about the Roland synth, completely different description of what this guy does now. But basically, you go into the app, you could set it up via your Bluetooth. Come on. Here we go. You could find your Roland Edge, and then you could log onto it, and basically you could edit each and every sound that's on your Roland X Edge. It's really a cool feature, but again, you used to be able to go and open up and go onto that. It used to say Axial, but now it says Cloud. And so if anybody has a Roland X Edge and you know how to still log on to the Axial website via this app, let me know how. I would love to know. Evolution and all, man. I hate these upgrades, man. It changes the whole thing. It changes the whole app. Other than that, it's an awesome Keytar. I'm loving the design. I love what it looks like. I love the sounds in it. I love that you can edit the sounds. I love how you could reprogram it and you could keep the sounds in the Keytar. Believe it or not, in the new Korg Keytar, you can't really do that. You have to hook it up to computer, and then you edit the sounds on the computer, and then it just stays there. You can't walk away from that computer and save those sounds on your Keytar. And my big debate, if I'm going to get the new Korg RK100S2, the only difference with the RK100S2 is that it just has like different sounds. It's got the same sound engine as this guy. This is the RK100S, the first one that came out in 2014. It's got the same sound engine of a Micro Korg XL. Pretty damn cool, pretty damn powerful. I'm not in love with all the sounds on it. There are a couple of leads I dig on this guy. I love sequences on this. But other than the new body on the brand new one, I don't see any big difference on the new Korg Keytar. If you have an opinion on that, on the new Korg RK100S2, let me know. Should I get it? My birthday's in April. Should I buy me one? Should I put down $1,000 just to buy a Keytar that's only 7 pounds now and it's no better than the one that came before it? And production on that was held back because of COVID, which makes me sad. But what I'm very excited about is this new year, because when it comes to resolutions and when it comes to bettering yourself, I'm into evolving. I'm into changing. I'm into being what the moment calls for. And as you can see with the different Keytars, with life, we have to change. We have to evolve. I do have to show you before I leave. This little lady, I found her online. She's one of those OMG dolls. And you could totally tell it's Lady Gaga, man. I wonder if Lady Gaga got bit from this or if she's got a little stake in this, but it's adorable, man. And I saw another thing online. I just thought that these little dolls would be great little mascots for my studio. This adorable Barbie, it's a Barbie rewind. It's basically an 80s Barbie. I love her. She's adorable. She's a woman of color. She's got a gorgeous, what is that? A Yamaha SHS10? But yeah, cool 80s chick and a woman of color playing Keytar. And of course, a little Lady Gaga doll. All for good luck in the studio. And everybody, health, happiness, hugs, all those good things. I believe in art, I believe in music, and I believe art and music heals. Big hugs from Las Vegas. Stay strong, stay safe, and love each other and take care of each other.